Last week and this week, we've been talking about political participation and different types of elections. In my opinion, probably the most important way a citizen can participate in their government is by voting. In my experience over the last few years, a lot of young people are lacking knowledge or confused by how to vote in the state of Wisconsin. So the purpose of this lesson is to kind of walk you through that process. First, there are a few things that our state has done to increase voter turnout. So the first thing is we have same-day registration, which means on election night, you can register to vote and then cast your ballot. And we're one of few states across the country that has same-day registration. To give you an example of how some other states are different, when I was living in Kansas, probably about 15 years ago, right after I graduated from college and I was starting my first teaching job, I tried registering to vote a few weeks prior to the election. And unfortunately, I was unable to because in that state, you have to be registered 30 days in advance. And if you're not, you can't vote. So unfortunately, I was unable to vote in that election. Something else that we have in Wisconsin is early voting. So the weeks leading up to election night, we can actually go into our polling place and cast our ballot. And you would have to go onto this website that you see on the screen, My Vote Wisconsin, click on My Polling Place, and it will tell you not only the hours on election night when it's open, but it will also tell you early voting hours. And this is something my wife and I have done a few times over the last few years. So like I said before, a lot of students that I've had the last 6-7 years in class have been confused, and the best website or resource that I found is this My Vote Wisconsin. So for today's lesson, what I want you to do is kind of click on these tabs and read and go through kind of all the prompts and how to do a variety of these activities in order to register to vote and then to find your polling place. So the first and probably the most important thing that you can do is to register if you've not done so already. So for today, again, click on this tab, follow all the prompts, all the questions they have for you, and hopefully you're able to register. Again, if you're unable to do that today or this week or next month, and you forget, again, you can still register in Wisconsin on election night. In order to do that, though, you have to know where your polling place is. Polling place is where you physically go to fill out your ballot. So to do that, you would click on My Polling Place. It'll ask you for your name and your address, and then it'll tell you where you can go and cast your vote. So for me, I would click on that, type in Brian Kaplan, type in my Mukwonago address, and it would say, okay, you cast your ballot. Your polling place is the Mukwonago Town Hall. It'll tell me the early voting hours and the hours that the polls are open on election night. Something else that is very important, especially these days, and I'm anticipating a lot of people doing this November, is voting absentee. So again, if you know that you can't make it on election night and you know that you don't want to go in and vote in person with early voting, you can have your ballot mailed to you. You can fill it out and then send it in. So how do you do that? So you can click on that tab. It'll ask you a few questions, what ballots you want sent to you. And then something else that you have to do that's very, very important. Wisconsin is a voting ID state. So in order to get an absentee ballot, you are going to have to upload a picture copy of a valid voting ID in Wisconsin. To know what a valid ID is in our state, you can look at this website that I've posted on today's lesson to get an idea of what our state accepts as a valid photo ID. So again, if you want to request an absentee ballot in Wisconsin, click on that tab. It'll ask you a few basic questions that are really easy to follow. You can snap a photo and then upload it right here. So again, I anticipate, or not anticipate, but I'm guessing a lot of people might use that option come November if you're unable to vote in person. So again, if you forget anything that I'm saying, hopefully the one thing that you do remember is this website, My Vote Wisconsin. It will tell you how to register. It'll tell you what's on your ballot. Again, this is something that I've done before too, is looked ahead and seen exactly what positions I'm voting for. If you forget where your polling place is, and that's where you actually cast your ballot, click on that tab. Boom, it tells you what location and then the hours on election night when it's open, but also early voting. And then if you want to vote absentee, again, have your ballot sent to you ahead of time, you can click on this. So again, a huge chunk of today's lesson, I want you interacting with this website. And then also with today's lesson, there's a few basic a few videos you can look at that are giving you some other basic information about voting in Wisconsin. Again, if you ever have questions about this, even after graduation, feel free to email me and I'll help you the best I can. Take care. Goodbye.